Now that we have covered many of the most popular and useful indicators, we have enough indicators to fully load up a free stock chart at stockcharts.com with 3 overlays and 3 lower indicators. So if you click on any ticker here, it'll bring up the standard chart. Now Apple's a little bit too expensive, so let's go with Yahoo, my favorite stock for doing technical analysis on. Now let's scroll down to the bottom where we will actually make the changes to this stock chart. Okay, the first one I'm going to do is to reduce the size to 620 so you can see it in this video. Okay, now what you see here is the small quote, the RSI, candlestick charts, the 50 and 200-day simple moving average. The volume is overlaid behind the candlesticks on this one, and you have the MACD. So let's go ahead and scroll down to the bottom and check each line. Okay, for daily charts, I like to look at 6 months. Okay. Then that line is done. Candlestick charts, there are many others to choose from, but as I've mentioned, candlesticks are the best. Okay, the default size is 700. The default color is what we see here, but you have many other colors to choose from. Okay, now volume. Let's talk about volume for a minute. As you can see, the volume is behind the candlesticks here. You can't really see what the volume's doing in this area, and sometimes it's a lot worse. So I always like to set my volume as a separate entity here. Okay. Now you see volume, and you can see what's going on with the volume. Okay. The next change. So that line is done. We have volume. I like to see the full quote. I also like to see price labels at the highs and lows. And I do not like log scale. I like arithmetic scale, and I will have a lesson on what the difference is and why one is good for one thing and why the other one is good for another. The rest of these are fine. Leave them alone. Okay, let's go to the 3 overlays you are allowed. The standard setting is 50 200-day simple moving average, and they are slow. I like to speed up my moving averages with the 15 and the 50 period. And then you have one more choice, so it's either Bollinger Bands or Parabolic SAR. In this case, I like Bollinger Bands. Always leave Bollinger Bands and Parabolic SAR at the standard settings. Okay. Now, we have the RSI showing up above the price. I don't like any of my lower indicators showing up above the price. Okay? The RSI will use standard settings for this. My next indicator is always full stochastics, and the bottom indicator would be the MACD. Go ahead and click Update, and this is your final chart. You have the ticker, the date, the full quote, much more information than the one-liner. Okay, you have 2 moving averages and Bollinger Bands or Parabolic SAR. Scrolling down, volume is separate. Then you get into what I call the strength indicators, which are the RSI, full stochastics, and MACD. So this is how your chart should look when you are done with stock chart setup number 1. You may have to watch this video a few times and practice what I just showed you. But when you are done, this chart is a great beginning place. These 3 indicators will give you things like momentum. What is the trend? Is the stock weak? Is the stock strong? Is it bullish or bearish? It will also identify overbought, oversold conditions. It also gives sell signals, buy signals. Here was a buy signal right here with the RSI at 30. Stochastics well below 20, turning back up through it. Okay, the MACD histogram improving before the stock actually moved up. There was the buy signal, always late on the MACD. But, you know, the histogram warned you. Headlights around the corner said there could be an uptrend coming here before it happened. Okay, so What I like best about this setup of these three, first of all, everybody uses them. They're on just about any stock chart I've ever seen anybody show anybody else. They're some of the most favorite indicators. They work very well, especially in this combination. Now let's take a look at my two setups. The one I just gave you is stock chart setup number 1. It has the strength indicators. The only difference here is I used the CCI instead of the RSI because it's my favorite indicator, and it will be in a lesson very soon. The only other difference on both of these charts is that I'm doing day trades. So I have shortened the moving averages down to 5 and 15 instead of 15 and 50. That's what I use when I swing trade. Okay. So on the right is what we will be showing after we learn all about on-balance volume, accumulation distribution, and Chaikin money flow. These are the 3 money indicators I use. You're looking for bullish or bearish divergences, which there are none here. Okay. So after we learn all about these, as a free member, you'll also be able to set up your stock charts just like this. And you can go back if you want to look at the strength indicators and set it up just like this with the RSI or CCI, stochastics, and the MACD. Now let's take a quick look at my standard setup as a paid member at stockcharts.com. After many years of studying every technical indicator, this is the group of indicators I have chosen as my favorites. Okay. As I said, I like the color scheme blue. I like the full quote. Up here in the overlay area, I have the 15-day simple moving average, the 50-day simple moving average, Bollinger Bands at the 20 setting, and the parabolic SAR also at the standard setting. And of course, volume. Volume is a number 1 indicator. Next, I have what we just learned in stock chart setup number 1 with the RSI, full stochastics, the MACD, and I add the CCI. Okay, these are my strength indicators. They give all of my buy and sell signals. Tell me if a stock is strong or weak. Next up is the ADX, the average directional index. And we will cover this one and the CCI real soon because they're both very important. Okay, and then down at the bottom, we have the money indicators, accumulation, distribution, on-balance volume, and Chaikin money flow, which we will learn very soon. This is how my chart looks, and everybody's going to be different. Everyone has their own preferences as to what their favorite technical indicators are, and that's the great thing about technical analysis is everybody develops their own style. They borrow things from other people and make it their own. And that's what I've done, and that's how I came up with this particular setup. Okay, and that's what you'll be doing.